They told me I had opioid addiction. Then I took a DNA test. Turns out that I don't have opioid addiction. Instead, the opioids have damaged my DNA. Hello, my name is Travis. I'm the lead plaintiff in the class action lawsuit with the ODDCAL, Opioid DNA Damage Class Action Lawsuit. Like others, I took the opioids as prescribed by my doctors. Like others, I took them long enough that when I tried to quit, I got real sick. Like others, I couldn't stand the sickness. It was just too much. Like others, I kept taking the opioids just to keep from getting sick. That's when they told me I was an opioid addict, but it didn't make any sense. It never made any sense. They said I was taking the opioids just to get high, but that wasn't true. I wasn't getting high. I was just trying not to be sick. Then I signed up for the clinical trial. As part of this clinical trial, I submitted saliva for a DNA test. Here are my results right here. I'm number 7,031. And as you can see, my DNA is different from the DNA of the opioid naive people who had never taken opioids. The opioids had changed my DNA. It had changed everyone's DNA in the study that was opioid dependent. This change is a poisoning called methylation. No one warned me about this. I would have never taken something that would have messed up my DNA. I wanted to know how the FDA had missed this. Turns out that the FDA only checks for drug-induced mutations, but not drug-induced methylations. That makes no sense at all. This is one of the biggest failures of government in the history of mankind. And we call upon Congress to open up investigations into the FDA and include the CDC while you're at it. And this methylation has been known since 2009. It was verified in 2011, in 2014, and 2018. The level of methylation was linked to the severity of the sickness. And in 2020, opioid-naive people at a dental clinic, people who had never taken opioids, were followed while they took a short course of opioids for pain. They all developed the DNA methylation when they took the opioids. Why didn't anyone warn us? Why did they just call us drug addicts? Look right here. This is the results of the DNA test. Everywhere the red column is bigger than the blue column is an area of methylation. Methylation does its damage by turning off the DNA directly beneath it. These parts of the DNA have been permanently turned off. And this is the DNA that I passed on to my son. They did this to me. They did this to us without our knowledge, permission, or consent. And now they are going to pay. And I want you to take this DNA test and join me in the class action lawsuit. But there is more to this story. As a part of the clinical trial, I volunteered to go off of the medication and go into withdrawal. I came into the clinic on day number 3, had my blood drawn, answered some questions, took a dose of buprenorphine, waited 2 hours, then had my blood work drawn again and answered the questions again. And here are my results. I am number 700 here. We are looking at my adrenaline levels. There are 3 adrenalines: norepinephrine, epinephrine, and dopamine. These are made and stored into your adrenaline glands. But when I got sick, when all of us get sick, we lose control of our organs. We believe that this is because the DNA damage produces a faulty opioid receptor that just doesn't work right anymore. You lose control of your sweat glands. That's uncomfortable. You lose control of your bowels. That's distressing. But you lose control of your adrenaline glands, and the adrenaline can kill you with a heart attack or a stroke. And just look at both of my results. Both my epinephrine and my dopamine were high enough to kill me. Look at the data from the American Heart Association and from 2019. COVID hadn't happened yet. Look at this massive epidemic of heart attacks and strokes. We believe these are from the people that died from adrenaline toxicity during the opioid withdrawal. Don't think so? Just look again at these adrenaline levels in the clinical trial. 13 out of 15 had at least 1 elevated adrenaline level. Many, such as myself, had 2 elevated adrenaline levels. The leaders of the clinical trial called an emergency halt because these numbers were so dangerous. Why else would U.S. life expectancy stall due to cardiovascular deaths if this was not true? And this abnormal adrenaline levels, this was seen in many scientific studies, 1963, 1967, and in 1990. This opioid addiction nonsense, this stuff was made up by the psychiatrists and addiction experts. There is no real science behind it. And without real science to back it up, opioid addiction is nothing more than a harmful and judgmental label. But they sure made a career out of it. And my answers to the questions before I took the buprenorphine were all really high. But everything got better with just 1 single dose of the buprenorphine. If you need to get on buprenorphine, see if the good folks over at bupe.me can help you out with the telemedicine. Please get yourself stabilized on buprenorphine. Then, I want you to take the same DNA test that I took. They are getting it CLIA certified so that it will stand up in court. Take the test so you can show the world, your family, and your loved ones that you are not a drug addict. You never were a drug addict. Just like me, you were the victim of a very greedy pharmaceutical industry. I know that the test is expensive. It's $600, but they will set up a payment plan with you, or you can use PayPal credit. Whatever you need to do, just get it done. You will find everything at smithgeneticsresearch.com. Then join the class action lawsuit. I have made my name public so that you can remain anonymous. Join the lawsuit. It's on the same Smith Genetic Research website, and let's take the fight to them. They poisoned our DNA. They poisoned us and our children. Then they labeled us drug addicts, but we figured it out. And now they will pay, and we will see justice. My name is Travis. I'm the lead plaintiff in the opioid DNA damage class action lawsuit. Join with me, stand with me, and let's let them know they messed with the wrong people. Thank you.